what it has in powder. Now, that's not to say it doesn't do some good, but think of how much more this wonderful plant pigment can do, especially from different sources. We've got 4 different sources because it's a little different in every plant. As we sometimes we think of that molecule, we pull it apart, you know, as if it somehow exists on its own, but it is tied into the other components of plants. And so that was one thing that was important, you know, and anything in water will degrade the longer it's in. So it's a matter of getting a lot more of those active components by keeping it sealed and fresh in a powder. So his estimate, and I want to say probably 15 to 20 times as potent as what you're getting in a liquid form when you have these chlorophylls in Solle Vital in a powder that you can just blend. And that's why people that have used chlorophyll in the past will start using this and go, wow, I'm noticing this and this and this. So that's really one thing. Honestly, Mark, he didn't, I may be mixing up a little of my talk with him about the potency of it, because it wasn't that he went on at length. I also, in working with Blake, we knew there had been some other research done that showed this same thing. So we were aware of this at this point. But Mark was instrumental in saying, look, I would, if it were my choice, I would always use it in a powder form and mix it and drink it immediately. The other thing that Mark did, Debbie, really is more the Solflex PI. As we got to do this other balancing formula, he actually had a formula put together that was amazing, but he had two or three items in it that were non-plant-based, good things, you know, like alpha lipoic acid was one of them, and I can't remember the other one, but they were actually synthetic. And I told him I love this formula. And then he and I talked about some additions that we put in the Solle formula, and we took out the non-plant-based, because I told him of our desire to really be plant-based. It's our belief that in the Vital, the minerals, you probably already talked about, Deb, the body can make a lot more hay with a mineral, no pun intended there on the alfalfa, with mineral attached to a plant than one that we're taking from other means and hoping we can absorb as much of it as possible. So all of that conversation really influenced us a lot at the very beginning. And honestly, we have him to thank for specifically the Solflex PI becoming what it is now, was really because of our powwows together with him.
Thanks, Greg.
That was it. Was that what you?
Yeah, that's awesome. We hadn't planned on talking about Solflex PI today, but I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I did want our people to know that this isn't just capricious. This isn't just fly off the handle and Greg wants to do things a certain way. No, I mean, there's a science to Solle, and to me, that's truly what makes it so powerful, is that it is totally plant-based. And for Greg to take that great information from some great brain like Mark Pedersen and put it together with another great brain like Blake Christensen and Greg's awesome brain, and put all that good information together and really make something that makes a difference for so many people. And I know, Joanne, you have started using some of these products. Greg, I don't know if you know this, but Joanne is almost a 2K again this month. So she's doing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks. Still got a lot to learn.
Well, and you know what? We never stop learning at Solle, and that's the great thing. And Greg, they wanted you to know that they're so grateful that you get on and do these meetings for us, because that really is sweet. You don't see a founder of a company do that.
I do think that's awesome.
So, but we did talk about the minerals, and we did talk about the multi-fill-in blend. I love the Sativa Min blend in part of Solle Vital, because that's the part that has all of those trace minerals. We know how important trace minerals are for the brain and for the body to function. There's so many vital organs that depend on trace minerals. And just the fact that you're getting a stick pack that is 15 times stronger than any other chlorophyll that you're going to find on the market. And in addition to that chlorophyll blend, you have those amazing trace minerals as well as the adaptogenic herb blend. So you're getting a really complete program. I wanted to say that there's a girl in my Spanish group who has, you know, one of those little machines that measures the energy in products. And so if the product is really good quality and has a lot of great energy, the light bulb goes on. Have you seen that? Do you remember that? So she called me yesterday after our webinar. It was Tere, Greg. And she said, I wanted so badly to tell you all that I tested Solle Vital and I tested Cinemate and the light bulb went right on, and I tested it against another product. The light bulb didn't shine. So what Greg is telling you is really true. I mean, you're looking at a product that's so highly concentrated, and to think that they're all bitter herbs and taste so amazing. And maybe, Greg, you can explain a little bit about how it is that the stevia is extracted and why our stevia sweetened products don't leave that bitter taste.
You bet. And you made me think of one other thing on the chlorophyll, Debbie. So 2 of the sources are sodium, copper, chlorophyllin, and 2 are just high chlorophyll containing plants. So you have
copper, chlorophyllin. That's the word I can't remember.
Yeah, and here's the thing that we noticed a few years before we founded Solle. The whole marketplace was changing away from, if you remember, Joanne, back, it used to be that we got all our chlorophyll from alfalfa.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they took that off the bottle, and I remember I was still at Sunshine. Blake and I were like, hey, what's going on here? And because what happened is the Chinese had gotten involved in, you had a lot more Chinese suppliers, and mulberry's plentiful there. Silk trade, mulberry trees. It's actually got a lot of great benefits. It's not that it doesn't. It's a wonderful source of chlorophyll, but it's also a lot cheaper. And so people started substituting it out. We actually have, it is a good, but alfalfa has got these minerals and all these other things that you don't find in mulberry. That's sort of what upset us.
Oh no.
Is losing the alfalfa. So can you hear me? Did I freeze?
No, I can. Yeah, you froze.
Good. Sorry. I'm just about back to the office here. Anyway, so you noted the #1 source in Solle Vital. Tell me if I freeze, Debbie. The #1 source of the sodium, copper, chlorophyll is actually alfalfa. And it wasn't easy for us to get that because everybody's moved to getting it from mulberry. We actually have both because we believe the variety, different components, every body is different, and the greater the variety of high quality, then the better chance that everybody gets the result they need. So that was the one point I wanted to make, is alfalfa.
You froze.
And did I freeze? Okay, so alfalfa.
There you are.
Yeah, alfalfa is a key component because when you extract the sodium, copper, chlorophyll, that's like 93% of it is all. The other 7% plant. And so you're quite a bit that you end up missing out on. And that's why people might see a different early chlorophyll versus more recent, because it comes from a totally different plant. And that's a huge factor. So we wanted to make sure we kept all of the quality components of chlorophyll in Vital. So that was just one thing. On the stevia, same thing. It's the same principle with everything else. You can process, you have to a certain extent, process the plant to extract it, right? And to be able to store it, cool and dry, etc. But over processing changes it. So that's what's happened with stevia. Just press that button on, this button right here. Sorry, we're back here, and I'll come into my office and no more freezing. So basically, that's the answer, is our stevia is not over processed. You don't get the bitter because they've just gotten better at extracting it without all the bitter notes. But it's not like there's a brand out there now that's popular that's so processed. To me, it's just too different from the natural form. So we basically tried to find a happy medium where we can avoid the bitter, but not have it be overly processed. And that's why there's not a ton of stevia in any of our products, to be honest. It's just, as you know, stevia is so sweet that if you're used to, like some of us, we're used to drinking more bitter things. We're like, oh, this is a little too sweet. So you might have to add more water. But I'm very super happy with kind of the way that we worked with our researcher who we knew back in our days in the other company. Yeah. So we've known him for 20 some odd years, and his name's Israel Haroldson. From the founding of Solle, he worked on the stevia and the flavoring, the natural flavors in Solle Vital. You can see those on the box because we state what they are. We used to not put them because it was kind of our secret, but then we didn't want people to think that we had natural flavors like some people do. So we decided just to put it on the box, and that's Israel's work, who's our chemist, and he's just done a great job on that. So I don't know if that answers your question on the stevia, Deb.
It's perfect. Thank you. That's awesome. I always have to explain to people that our stevia is processed differently, and that's why it tastes so good. It really doesn't leave the bitter, and it's not over processed like Greg was saying. One other thing that I thought of, Greg, as you were talking about Solle Vital and the it's something that Dr. Allison says, and for her it's so important when we talk about the sodium copper chlorophyllin that we get the right source, and that we're not just focusing on chlorophyll but also the chlorophyllin part. And that to me makes such a big difference. And I know that you ladies have the book, The Fix. You'll start reading about that in there. Why this whole plant concept is so important to Solle Naturals. It's not just an important concept to Greg. It's a founding concept for the company. It's something that we value and we hold very dear, is that we use the whole plant because of the many attributes of the different components of the plant. And again, that's what makes adaptogens so special, right? Because if you look at the adaptogen combination that we have in AdaptAble and Solle Vital, you see 6 adaptogenic herbs. I remember I said that there are 50 known recognized adaptogenic herbs. For Chinese philosophy, not only does it have to be adaptogenic and have all the qualities of an adaptogenic herb, it has to be a superior herb. And in traditional Chinese medicine, they use over 200 different worldwide known herbs that they've used for millennia. Okay, so this is not a new concept, but the use of adaptogenic herbs is fairly new. I mean, the Russians really kind of took over that science and made it what it is today. So when you look at all of the plant components in Solle Vital and AdaptAble, you're looking at a product that isn't just a pH balancing product. It's more than that. It's something that balances the brain. I love that those products are in the balancing category. You notice that they all have that green label. Balance, remember when we were taught the ABCs of herbs, we were always taught that you activate and then you balance and then you feed, right? Or cleanse. We look at it as first balance. Balance is the most important. That's what your body is always trying to do, is find balance, reach a state of homeostasis. That's balance. That's exactly what we want to do. So when we're balancing first, and then we move on to, activating or calming or clarifying, that's why the body can do what it does with our product line. Is if you're starting at that good jumping point, which is the balance, and you're using a foundational drink like Solle Vital, Cinemate, Renew, and Excel, you are doing your body an amazing favor by feeding them. You really wouldn't have to eat. I really do find that if I have breakfast, I have a good breakfast, I am so full the rest of the day taking my products and taking my drinks that I don't have room for a lot of other junk. Every now and then I do. You know, yesterday I made bread pudding for the missionaries. You know, I had to have a piece today, but I feel so good. I mean, the change in me is amazing. We've seen changes in so many people. We've seen some amazing things. Greg announced at convention that there was a new ingredient added to our Maca XD. We'll talk about Maca when we talk about the lifting products. And then Greg just mentioned that there's a new product going to be launched. And Greg, I hope you don't mind, I mentioned to the ladies that are listening, and we are recording, that our goal is not to ever have a huge product line, but it is to have products that include all of the adaptogenic herbs that are known to man right now. Is that still true?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because they all have their unique, they all have their unique strengths, even though they all have their similarities as well, but they're all very unique.
Awesome. Well, do you ladies have any questions before we let Greg go that Greg might be able to answer?
I don't think I have any questions, but I just want Greg to know we really appreciate all of his help and all of his assistance in training us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and I'm so sorry I was late today. That won't happen again.
No worries. No worries.
Don't worry.
You came in at the perfect point. I had gone ahead and reviewed Donna's story, which is pivotal in the history of Solle, right? It's why Solle exists. It's why we have AdaptAble. And I know from personal experience, I can't even tell you how many people I've helped with AdaptAble, how AdaptAble has helped me. If you live with chronic pain, you may not think you have depression or anxiety, but you really do. You really do have that degree of sadness, because chronic pain plays terrible mind games with you. And that's something that if you don't get it under control, you won't control the pain. It works both ways. You know, you have to really get this feeling good to feel good here, but if you don't feed this, this doesn't function. So that's why, to me, AdaptAble is a product that everybody can and could use, should use. And
yes, I agree.
yeah, especially if you have chronic pain, or in these days, especially now with this whole COVID thing, you know, so many people have stress. So many people have anxiety. And this is a product that if you can't take capsules, so for instance, younger kids who really don't understand what's going on, they can drink Solle Vital. They don't have to take AdaptAble, but they can drink Solle Vital because of those 6 adaptogenic herbs that are in there that's going to help feed the brain what it needs. And then those trace minerals can do what it needs to do in the nervous system. Or a geriatric person who can't swallow capsules either could do very well on just the 4 drinks alone, because it really does give you a wide variety of nutrition that could help your body and help your mind. So
Debbie, if you're doing the 4 drinks, is it beneficial to add the adaptables to those?
some people find it very helpful because they need the extra boost. So for instance, for me, I run a lot during the day. I don't run physically because my knees don't permit that anymore, but I'm running around doing things, you know, moving from a webinar to a phone call or whatever. For me, it helps me manage my stress levels. So okay. I will take a Solle Vital in the afternoon, but usually I take an AdaptAble in the morning so that what my nieces say doesn't happen. They'll always say, "Oh, Titi, your nerves are extra crispy today." So it keeps my nerves from getting extra crispy, or at the end of an extreme. Have you ever been so tired that you close your eyes and you can't fall asleep? It's not that your brain is going, it's not saying anything, but it's just not falling asleep. Mm-hmm. Sometimes take an AdaptAble with my Renew at nighttime, and it helps me fall asleep better. And I fall asleep. Mm-hmm. So you can find many uses for the AdaptAble, but I always say, you know, start with the 4 drinks and add what your body needs. So that maca, if you're taking Excel, so for instance, maca as an example, maca is a product that I would add to my 4 drinks because I'm taking them, and I take the adaptable in the morning, but I'm a little too extreme. Greg laughs at me. He goes, "You're on the fringe." I don't know many people who take all of the Solle products like you do, but I do. But I believe in them, and I know how my butt. Look, for me, Joanne, Sherry, Della, I've had emotional distress from a very young period in my life. You know, suffered serious forms of abuse and other things that your body hides. And when you start using a product like a Solle Vital, and you're cleansing, like say with the Amitox and the Fast Track, and you're adding this, all of a sudden your liver starts to feel good and starts to release things, and you're remembering things. And when you start to remember things, it can bring on things like post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't suffer from it. I recognize that I may have a flashback or invoke certain feelings. That's when I add my extra adaptable, and I use my oils. So, you know, the oils, we can have a whole different conversation about the oils and how they function on the mind body level as well, because they really are awesome. And that's what I love so much about Solle. I mean, I'm in love with Solle, stronger than I have ever been in love with herbs before. And I love herbs. I loved where I was working. I didn't love what was happening where I was working, but I loved those products, and I loved how many of them made me feel. What I did not love was like the experience that Donna was having, where she was having to take 70 capsules a day, 35 in the morning, 35 in the evening. That's just not possible for me. I hated that. And I was one of those people who was taking a whole bunch of capsules during the day. And now, yeah, I can take 1 or 2 adaptable. I use my omegas. Yes, I use my vertizymes. There are things that we have to take every day, enzymes, probiotics, and those things. But I don't have to take an exorbitant amount of those products to get the result that I get with Solle. And that's what made me fall in love.
Deb, Joanne, it's awesome seeing you guys. I'm going to run. I promise.
It's good to see you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
See you. You betcha.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Do you girls have any other questions for me?
Got one. Have you got any secrets about getting the infatuate down?
Oh, you don't like the flavor?
No, but I need it.
Okay, so do you like chocolate almond milk?
Yeah, that cover it up.
I mix it with the chocolate almond milk. That's how I take it.
I'll go get me some chocolate almond milk.
I like it. And you know what? I put 4 ounces of chocolate almond milk, and I may add a little bit more water because I don't like anything that's thick.
Yeah.
But the infatuate, I take it when I take my omegas. So I don't take it anytime like an hour before or an hour after I'm going to have anything that's fiber.
Okay.
Good fat, and I don't want the fiber to absorb that good fat and take it out.
That makes sense.
I usually take it. So for instance, I did not have lunch today. I mixed up an infatuate with Thrive, and I took my 2 omegas and I took 1 enzyme. You really should take an enzyme when you take the infatuate, because that kind of activates everything. Remember, your body, so protein and fats, they're all covered in a little protein layer. And proteolytic enzymes will break down that protein layer, so your body absorbs it better. It breaks it down a little easier. And I'm taking that either, you know, if I've had dinner my goal usually is to have dinner by 5. I don't like eating late. And then maybe after I've had dinner, I'll take my infatuate. But then, you know, hopefully I've had my fiber during the day. I don't take fiber in the morning and in the evening. I should, but you know, I take so many other things during the day that I don't like to have that fiber suck it all out. So I take those together. So I take infatuate, Thrive, and my omegas together, and I always add an enzyme. And it seems to break down. I don't have any problems with it.
Okay.
Some people who are not taking it at the right time or the right way will immediately get diarrhea when they use the infatuate. So that's another thing that you have to keep in mind. So just kind of separate it from your last meal, you know, at least an hour
Yeah.
for your meal and at least another hour before you're going to take something else, and let your body drink it down, absorb it. But if you want to water down the almond milk, you can, and it really tastes good. I like it that way. Take it with the Thrive.
I had been taking it, but it wasn't easy to get down for me to take.
Yeah,
and I tried it in a couple things and it didn't work. And I thought there's got to be something that will work.
So try it with the almond milk, see if you like it. Or, you know, you can add it to any other drink that you like that doesn't have.
I wouldn't mess my drinks up.
I don't like mixing a lot of things either, but you know, with the Thrive, it works really well.
I like each and every one of the drinks, so I didn't want to add that to it.
Well, you know what? Soul Excel and
love that.
But have you noticed if you let it sit for a little while, you see the fiber at the bottom? So they have fiber. Not a lot of fiber, but it's enough for your body to say, you know, that's why they work so well, because they have fiber to clean that circulatory system. It helps to get, that's why when you take them the right way, you go to the bathroom. You're not having diarrhea, but you do go to the bathroom.
Right.
So like my husband's stepmom, she had a problem with diverticulitis. And so I asked her if she wouldn't mind starting the drinks, and she takes the drinks, all 4 drinks, takes the AdaptAble, and she takes the ProBio and the Vertizymes. And she said, oh, and the Solflex PI. And she started to take those, and then she went back to her doctor, and number 1, her A1C went down.
Really?
Yes, it went down. It was under 7. It was way over 7. It was 6 point something her first visit. And then after that, down a little bit more. But she said that what was the most amazing thing was she was going to have surgery for the diverticulitis. And she does not have to have the surgery anymore because the inflammation is down. And she said, hey, I feel so good. I'll get up in the middle of the night to go pee-pee. That's how she says it, to go. And sometimes I go poo-poo at the same time. And I don't feel the pain when I go poo-poo.
Well, that's a good thing.
And that's amazing. You know, when you have diverticulitis, it's pretty painful. So
it is, yes.
She's my biggest advocate. She will tell all of her older friends all about the product and says, yeah, my daughter-in-law sells these products and da-da-da-da-da-da. She really loves it. So, you know, I work to take care of my family.
Absolutely. I know how that goes.
Yeah, but she really loves it. She really says it's really helped, and the inflammation has gone down. And she says that the best thing is that she's been able to have regular bowel movements without having
that's wonderful
or painful evacuation, which part of the problem.
Yeah.
So, but she says that AdaptAble really helped her too. So, and anyway, girls, well, I'm glad. I mean, I hope try it, Joanne, with the chocolate milk, and see how. Do you have the Thrive? Do you have that?
I do. I haven't taken it though.
Okay, so Thrive and Infatuate both work on the liver.
Okay, the Thrive works on the liver too. Okay.
Yes, so it's a really good nourishing for the liver. Infatuate is really good because it focuses on helping the liver detox. So if it's fatty liver, and if you want, I will find you the talk that Dr. Allison gave at this convention about Infatuate, and I'll send you that video. It's on YouTube. I'll find it for you.
Okay.
I will send it to you, but she really talked about how Infatuate really works on fatty liver. And I have a friend who also used to be with the other company. Her daughter is Down syndrome child, and she started using the Infatuate and the Vertizymes for her daughter. Said that, you know, after using 1 bag of the Infatuate, which really will last you almost a month, she said that her liver enzymes had come down, and her doctor was just amazed at how well her daughter was doing. I'm hoping to get her to record it, her testimony, even though it's in Spanish. You know, we can.
Did she just use the Infatuate? Did she use anything with it?
the Infatuate, the Vertizymes, and she
Mhm.
also used the Soul Complete for her because she was having gut troubles. So
Mhm.
Soul Complete really helps to heal the gut, but some really good information there.
Yes.